Hi, in this video I want to talk to you about the emotional obstacles you may feel when you have celiac disease. I'm Mike Hines from JustNoGluten.com. When you receive a diagnosis that you have celiac disease, you are going to experience lots of emotions. Some may be quite extreme. As you go through the denial process, and that does happen, the urge to cheat, just a little bit, can be overwhelming. This is especially true when special occasions arise. Let's face it, so many of our holiday memories are tied to food. The problem is, there is no such thing as cheating a little when you have celiac disease. Even a minuscule amount of gluten can affect the immune system. So it's not a matter of just one little bite. For anyone with celiac disease, any bite is a bite too many. Even people who are only gluten sensitive can be severely affected by a small amount of it. Gluten may cause the gut to leak from the small intestine, which can cause toxins to spread into the body and cause inflammations. Do consider seriously if Mum's delicious stack of pancakes is worth this. This video is intended to help you make good choices. The most serious case of cheating is done by gluten-sensitive people who don't show immediate negative symptoms. They may continue cheating themselves and the gut is being damaged, although they don't know it until their autoimmune system is adversely affected. If you have been exposed to gluten, get a lab test before the damage caused becomes irreversible. Let's face it, cravings can pop up at any time. Now, these can be difficult to handle, but you are in control. Just like an alcoholic, take it one day at a time. Now, you may want that piece of cake more than life itself at this moment in time. Just get through the moment. Walk away from it if possible. Do understand that the cravings won't be as severe the next day. I repeat, handle cravings one day at a time and remain in control. What you also need to understand is what foods trigger your cravings. Is it going to your mum's house and having her prepare all of your childhood favorites? Is going out with friends for pizza too difficult to handle? If you can't avoid the triggers, and let's face it, you really can't avoid your mum, learn to handle them. Talk to your mum about celiac disease and how to prepare gluten-free options. Or better still, bring your own. Discover pizza parlors with gluten-free selections and convince your friends to go there as well. Remember the old saying, cheating is always a choice. Make good choices for yourself. Let's talk about taking control of your emotions. Let's not fool ourselves. Knowing you're suffering from celiac disease can cause bouts of blues and depression. When you start feeling down and depressed, it's time to elevate your emotions instead of obsessing on the food. Here are some ways to feel better and enjoy a higher quality of life. These guidelines are meant to help you stay on track. Number 1, depression. It can make you withdraw, but you need to reach out. Have at least one person you can talk to about what you are going through without worrying about judgments being made. This can be a parent, sibling, best friend, someone else who has celiac disease, or a professional. Just feeling understood can lift your spirits tremendously. Number 2, instead of withdrawing, become more involved with people. Try and reach out to someone who is going through a rough time. Maybe find a worthwhile association where you can volunteer and make a difference. Because let's face it, everyone is dealing with something. And knowing that fact will make you feel less alone. Now, while a pet won't replace other people, it can help you feel less alone. Number 4, try and discover a new hobby or an interest to get your mind off of food. How about taking a class, joining a gym? Becoming involved in your community can be very energizing. Life really has too much to offer to make it all about food. Number 5. If certain people are unsupportive of your situation, or perhaps actually accusing you of overreacting, consider whether these people should remain in your life. Ask yourself the question, what are they actually adding to my life? Number 6. You should always remove as much stress from your life as possible. Why not consider practicing meditation for half an hour daily? Just find yourself a comfortable seat, close your eyes and focus on your breath as you inhale and exhale. This will help you relax both your mind and spirit. Number 7. Nature seems to be the best medicine of all. If you happen to live in a city, find a park and walk around, enjoying what nature has to offer. Why not take a walk during your lunch hour? If you live in the country, getting close to nature is even easier. It is very true that sunshine will boost your day. Let's look at gluten, ADHD and autism. Now, it's one thing being an adult and being diagnosed with celiac disease, and we have just covered the emotional stress that can bring with it. But what happens when it's your child with the diagnosis? A bit more difficult to explain to a child that they can't have their favorite foods anymore. And as for asking them not to cheat, good luck with that one. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is on the rise. It is both difficult to diagnose and treat, but as the name implies, it involves the amount of hyperactivity in children. The connection between celiac disease and ADHD is still being studied, but doctors and parents have noticed that both are connected to food allergies and or food intolerance. Interestingly, around 70% ADHD sufferers have a sensitivity to gluten. We do know that the frontal brain lobe, which is in charge of memory and planning activity, is impaired in people with ADHD. It is also known that gluten can affect that very area of the brain. Therefore, more and more researchers and doctors are treating ADHD by omitting gluten from the diet. Kids with ADHD react differently when gluten is removed from their diet, but the results have been quite incredible. The kids have become less hyperactive and have a decreased mental confusion. In each study, the researchers found that giving up gluten resulted in improved brain function in all cases. When the connection between autism and gluten was studied, 2/3 of the children showed improvement once they were no longer eating gluten. Researchers are still working to connect the two factors, but the results have astounded them. One of the challenges for parents is having picky little eaters. As anyone with children are aware, they can be extremely adamant in what they will eat and what they won't go near. They may eat only one kind of food, or even one food of one color. Kids with ADHD may also react negatively to sugar, so parents need to remove both from their diet. In a 2006 study, 132 participants were tested for celiac disease and ADHD. Subsequently, the participants were given a diet free of gluten for 6 months. When the researchers checked them after the time period, they found that many participants with undiagnosed celiac disease also had ADHD. Researchers concluded that a diet free of gluten could benefit these participants. Celiac disease sufferers complained of many similar discomforts and symptoms as ADHD sufferers do. This can include headaches, difficulty in focusing, abdominal pain, and others. Researchers have noticed such an overlap in symptoms that some believe that anyone tested for celiac disease should automatically be screened for ADHD as well. Of course, not all people with ADHD suffer from celiac disease, but may still benefit from a gluten-free diet. The reason is that a gluten-free diet, when properly adhered to, should be more nutrient-dense than the average diet. which means that someone with ADHD on a gluten-free diet will be eating less processed foods and consume more healthy meats, fish and produce, and see symptoms improve as a result. Unfortunately, all too frequently when kids with ADHD go to school, the gluten-free diet is given up as unsustainable. As a result, these kids find it difficult to sit still for any length of time. And this, in turn, forces them back onto medication. A number of parents have solved this problem by reinstigating a gluten-free diet. I know it's hard to control kids when they're in school, but parents have found that the kids improve enough to have their medication lowered considerably. So let's talk about gluten-free and autism. Up to now, there's been too little research on autism and gluten-free diets. Autism is a disorder of the brain which can make it difficult for a child to communicate and socialize. Stony Brook University researchers studied 59 children diagnosed with autism and 44 of their non-autistic siblings. The children's family were to record all of their food intake and take stool samples. The researchers found that almost half of the autistic children and 30% of the non-autistic siblings suffer from gastrointestinal disorder. These numbers are much higher than found in the general population of children. Since gastrointestinal issues involve the small intestine, researchers have concluded that a gluten-free diet may prove beneficial. If your child suffers from AD, ADHD, or autism, discuss the possibility of a gluten-free diet with your pediatrician. While more studies need to be conducted, placing your child on a healthy, gluten-free diet won't hurt him or her, and it might actually help. But be sure to discuss any specific dietary changes with your child's doctor. I do hope you found this video informative. If you like the content, why not give a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. See you soon. www.justnogluten.com